Hey, so today I'm going to talk about changes in the action figure, I guess, industry. It's part of the comic book collectible thing. So one of the ways that it really started to get big was in the 90s, and lined up more with like the kids shows and things like that that were getting published or put out. The X-Men TV show, Spider-Man TV show. Um, it's predated on like Transformers, G.I. Joe, and things like that, where you had to tie in with TV shows and marketing. So as you can see, I've got a bunch of these X-Men figures lining the walls here. They look great, carded up and everything. The figures don't have great detail to them compared to what you get later on. Um, it's more mass production for a younger market. The collectability is more in the nostalgia and the vintage factor now. Then, of course, condition of the card is always a big thing. Of course, the card is your package. Um, at least for those 90s figures. You do get some more rare figures depending on who the character is. The Deadpool figure from that line is pretty valuable comparatively. Like he's a $40-$50 figure compared to like a 10-15, just because he was basically made only after he appeared once or twice, which is kind of cool. But he's a lower print, so there just wasn't as many of them. It's taken a while for Deadpool to get as popular as he has. He used to be basically a write-off. And then after you have the market crash, it starts to change a little bit. As we get a little later, like this Marvel Gold Taskmaster, it's a little later, so it's got a little more details, like late 90s, early 2000s. Um, so yeah, he's also actually worth a little bit more just because he is more rare. Taskmaster, again, a little more obscure figure who is more popular among fans, so that has more value. Then we get into, as you can see, at least a few of, but I'll pull one out here. My Marvel Universe figures are one of the examples I'm going to use. But before that, I guess I'll talk about the Marvel Legends figures. I have the Bishop right here. So, how they would sell them, you would have a run of figures, and there's two different tactics. You have the build a figure. So, you have from the full line, there'd be 6 or 7 figures. You'd get all the figures, and they'd each come with a piece. So you put all those pieces together and make a really, a much bigger figure, like at least a 12-inch, 14-inch size figure. So it'd be Galactus. There was Apocalypse, Mojo. There's Fin Fang Foom was a really cool one. That's one of the rarest ones. So those together, they can go anywhere from 150 to about 300 for the Fin Fang Foom. And then in the case packs themselves, so just the individual 6-inch figures. Um, Again, who the character is depends on the value. Um, but originally, as they would sell them, there would be a chase figure. So that'd be a figure that there would only be, say you get 2 or 3 of every other figure, there'd only be one of this particular figure in the pack. Usually they're a really cool character as well, comparatively. So that would be another way to sell more boxes and things like that. And you still have that today in the Marvel Legends lines, they do, but the quality of the actual figures has gone down. It used to be, as the price of oil and things have gone up, it's gotten more expensive to produce high quality figures and things like that. And there used to be more exclusivity. So nowadays you don't really have those same chase figures. You might have a character who's in demand. They put out less of. The Marvel Legends Deadpool they did last year as an example. So it'd be the same amount in every case pack of Marvel Legends figures because they no longer do chase figures. But the demand made the figure skyrocket to where it'd be $70 to $90 aftermarket based on $30 retail. And they've recently decided to reprint the figure because they're now deciding to kill that aftermarket. And we've seen that a few with you see these Marvel Select figures. They've done that a few times where they'll do a first printing. Carnage was one of the most recent examples, and then afterwards they'll just reprint it. They used to destroy the molds originally because in the casting process it's the mold that's the most expensive piece. Um, so nowadays they just don't care. They just reprint it because it's a license to print money after a point. If there's a demand, they're going to go for it. So you don't have the same exclusivity. You'll have Comic Con or like Comic Con exclusives. Like if you see this Masters of Evil set right here, that was a San Diego Comic Con exclusive from 2012. And you also have store exclusives. Um, Used to be not as common, so they used to be worth more. Nowadays, it's much more common. You'll have Walmart, Toys R Us with store exclusives. So it's another way to sell more figures, and those ones end up worth a little more aftermarket. Um, but the collectability isn't there as much with newer figures. The quality has gone down again with the price of oil going up. The compared to the early 2000s, yeah, they're willing to recast. The detail's not there comparatively. Or the other thing that's happened that's kind of cool, it's kind of killed the market, is they've gone really, really high end. So three examples would be Hot Toys Sideshows figures, which they're basically statue figures, fully posable and everything, and the Masterpiece Transformers, anywhere from $150 to $300 a piece, but they look fantastic. But that's the way that the market's gone now. So thank you very much. Have a good night.